Profanity is guaranteed. Viewer discretion is advised.
Heyo.
What was that?
I don't know.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I don't know why we're asking each other. We've been together the entire weekend.
Yes, but the viewer and or listeners don't know that.
No. Well, we have.
As far as they know, we may not have seen each other for some time. When in fact, we're neighbours pretty much now.
It's been the last 2 weekends in a row that we've hung out as well, so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, how have you found the week?
Yeah, good. I think it's funny with these cases now, because we do spooky chat, some of the things I would have put at the beginning of cases, I've like saved them all for spooky chat.
Makes sense.
But no, it's been an okay week. I'm still sort of trying to figure out
Life?
Yes. Figure out life in general, and how to direct my creativity so that it makes me the most money. That's basically it. So I'm trying to figure that out. So, just applying for positions and figuring out what to do in my spare time, because I don't really like spare time.
You don't really have a lot of spare time.
No, any spare time I have, I'm either doing work, can't call it work, fun research for this, for cars, or we're doing something which is usually related to cars.
Yes.
Or I'm creating, which I then sell my creations. So I'm constantly working, but I don't mind that. I'm happy. If I'm sitting there doing nothing, I feel very guilty.
Yeah. That, or we're trying to experiment with rum, but not getting very far.
Yeah, so, I'm going to save that for Spooky Chat.
Okay.
But one thing I was going to ask you, actually, which I can ask outside of Spooky Chat, it's not particularly spooky, and I was thinking about it earlier, because last episode we talked a lot about mental health, and all our episodes we like to talk about mental health, very open about it. And I was doing my hair this morning, and I suddenly remembered this thing about my ears. Because I know, this will make some sort of sense in a minute. So I really love my ears now, but I went through literally years and years and years of being really paranoid about the shape of my ears.
Oh, really?
Because a girl at school, in primary school, told me I had really weird, elf sticky out ears.
Elf is so cute, and also kids are horrible.
Exactly, and that made me wonder, because I was thinking that's literally stuck with me.
Goober's staring at your ears.
Yeah. That's literally stuck with me my whole life. And I was going to ask you if you ever had anyone say anything to you that you've almost not gotten over.
Yeah, no, I've never noticed it.
Because it comes under mental health. No, that's the thing. I love my ears now. I really do. They're cute. There's no issue with them.
I mean, there's things I don't like about myself, but nobody's ever really said anything about them.
Oh, okay.
I've only ever had someone be negative about my birthmark once.
Okay.
So I have a port wine stain.
That was a random fact of yours, actually, before, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just so maybe to go a bit further into that story, it used to be a lot darker, and when I was born, it started on the palm of my hand. I'm probably repeating what I said.
It doesn't matter.
The random fact. And then it grew all the way up the arm. It's very light across the chest. It's light down my left arm, and I've got the 2 white V's on the back. Mm-hmm. It used to be a lot darker. I had a lot of laser treatment on it. And then when Dad was ill and dying, I had a boyfriend, and then after Dad died, we split up, and it's quite amicable and stuff. He started dating someone whose nickname was Fat Tanya.
Okay.
Anyway, I'd gone to Whole Metal Fest with some friends, and Bill and Fat Tanya were there, and there was a little bit of a to-do. I got a little bit drunk, thought Bill had pushed me, so I headbutted him.
Oh my God, this is turning into some sort of episode of Jeremy Kyle, but the metal version.
There was some anger issues there again, under the mental health bracket, umbrella even. And then this girl said it looked like cancer.
What?
Having known cancer and leprosy, knowing full well my dad had just died of cancer.
What a bitch.
We got into a little bit of a scuffle.
I'm not fucking surprised.
And she, so she grabbed my hair and pulled me down, and me being me, took my lighter out and tried to set her on fire.
Oh. Okay.
And, it was back in times of really shit fake hair extensions, a lot of fucking hairspray.
Yeah.
So she could have gone up.
Jeez.
Luckily, I was pulled off her because I was going to fucking kill her.
Yeah, we're not condoning violence in
do
any
not
way,
do
shape,
that.
or form.
And it doesn't matter how angry you are, you don't do that.
No.
I was just a little bit of a hellion.
But do you feel like that, because obviously that included and encompassed a whole bunch of touchy subjects.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, did you take that and be like, oh, I'm really conscious of it, or did you be like, oh, she's an absolute cunt, fuck her?
Literally, she's an absolute cunt, fuck her.
Which she is.
Yeah.
But did you take that as a personally, or was it just
It
ammo?
was personal because she knew about Dad.
Yeah.
She's with my ex who I was with when Dad was ill, dying, died.
Yeah.
And I was very lucky as a kid. People were only sort of inquisitive about it. People thought it was a burn injury and stuff. I went, no, it's actually a birthmark and stuff. I've had people call it pretty before.
Yeah.
It's really unique to look at, that kind of thing. So I was never bullied for it. So I think that's why I've always been okay. But when it wasn't the fact that she was taking the piss out of my birthmark. It was the fact that, Dad had just died of cancer.
Yeah,
so
that was the real awful part of that, yeah.
And that really triggered me. It wasn't the fact, my birthmark. I forget it's there.
Yeah.
A lot of people
honestly, do. I completely forget it's there. I never notice it. I don't think I've ever really noticed it. It's just part of you.
And it is a lot lighter than it used to be. It used to be really quite dark.
Yeah,
so
remember.
it was a lot more noticeable. But even then, the kids at school were fine with it.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's never given me any issues.
Oh, that's good.
And it's never been like something that I've been self-conscious about either. Okay,
so you never had anyone tell, like, for example, did anyone ever tell you had footballers' knees? So I have got knobbly knees. I've got my dad's knees, which I'm very proud of. I love
and it was my mother that pointed out your knobbly knees, wasn't it?
And your mum told me I had knobbly knees. But then also my ex has mentioned it before as well.
Which one?
Anthony.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, so he's mentioned my knees before. But the other thing that happened when I was a kid that really stuck with me, but it is actually true. So, as I've mentioned, I was in Pony Club. And
Wait, which pony club were you in, Helen?
It was Lord Leconfield Pony Club.
Lord Leconfield.
In West Sussex. And I went to get fitted for a new riding hat. It might actually have been my first riding hat. I was really, really young, so it might have been my first riding hat. And I just remember this awful woman in this, like, equestrian shop. Oh. And she measured my head and she was like, oh my God, you've got such a big head.
You twat.
And she made me cry. And my mum was
people like that are awful.
Yeah, my mum was like, don't worry about it. Like, obviously, my mum's not very sympathetic at the best of times. And that has always stuck with me. But I don't know if I do have a big head, but I like to wear my hats big because I get migraines so easily. So any pressure on my head, I get a headache straight away. So I wear everything super big.
See, I always thought I had a big head, but then when I got measured up for a try-horn for a potential costume, turns out I'm like 1 inch bigger than the smallest size they do.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've got a tiny head.
Yeah, my head is a lot bigger than yours.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
One thing that did stick with me, and, I don't want to paint him in a bad light, but my brother always used to mention my weight when I was younger. And
Did he?
Oh, he called me fat all the time.
Never heard him say that to you.
Oh, God. We were quite a lot younger.
Yeah. Brothers and sisters are awful to each other as well, so...
So, the weight thing's always stuck with me, and I do struggle with my weight. I fluctuate quite badly. At the moment, I'm kind of up compared to, a couple of years ago, even like a few months ago. So what's one thing I'm really conscious about is my weight and my shape. And it doesn't matter how many times people say, you're fine. It's how you feel about it. And, I can always tell when my clothes aren't fitting right.
Yeah.
And that's always stayed with me, is the whole weight thing, because, I got that from my brother. You know, he wasn't very nice about it.
Yeah.
You know, mum's told me when I've put on weight and things like that, and it's you know, it's not necessarily to be malicious. Mum wasn't.
No.
But she knows like how self-conscious I can be
It's
about
not very
it.
helpful.
It's not. But yeah, Richard could be quite cruel about it. And then, but lo and behold, when he put on weight, I wasn't allowed to say a fucking thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, damn it. Yeah, so that is something that I am very self-conscious of.
Yeah.
Very self-conscious of.
It was a bit, like I said, it was a bit of a random thing to bring up, but I thought because we had such a in-depth conversation about mental health last week, and it was so funny because I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, oh, I'll mention that and just see if there's anything that, you know.
It's weird because those kinds of things are like superficial, shallow things. In a way, but they can really kind of affect you, especially like I say, for years he used to call me fat, and so I was always self-conscious, and then, you know, I'd be next to friends who are absolutely beautiful or, you know, really, really slim, and I'd be like, I'm a potato.
Right, can we just say
Yeah,
but I did need to have my say here, please. You are in no way, shape or form a potato. We like to eat them, but you are not one.
My body is a temple if the god was Buddha.
Stop it.
No, I'm joking. And Mark, I'm going to say that as a really nice compliment. He goes, he fucking loves potatoes.
We are literally the Potato Appreciation Society.
Potatoes. I love you too. I'm taking that.
I actually used to get bullied because I was skinny.
It's crazy, isn't it? You can't be one way, you can't be the other. And then the whole body positivity thing comes into it. And people have that so backwards because they're shaming one to make the other one feel better. So if someone can love being bigger and curvy, if someone is healthy but naturally really slim, why can't they love how they are?
Yeah.
Same with, you know, if you're really muscly.
Yeah.
And things like that. It seems it's not talked about in a healthy way, body positivity. At all.
It's
you know, people are all for it and you know.
But things always end up swinging too far the other way then, don't they? Yeah.
And that's the thing, as long... Mark just said it's a chore being hench. No, darling, I know.
Oh, that's your cross to bear, Goobs.
But, you know, you get much curvier ladies saying, oh, you're too fucking skinny and things like that. But and too skinny people being like, oh, you're too fat and things. But if you're healthy... Yeah. Why does that matter?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, like you know, in a very simplistic form, you don't take a tree and go, oh, you're too
barky.
You've got too many leaves. You've got too many branches. It's like everyone's different.
Yeah, it's nature, and everyone's built differently. So body positivity shouldn't be about shaming one to make the other feel better.
No, amen. Okay, right.
Well, there we go.
That was a good tangent we went off on there. Well, this is totally unconnected to what we're talking about, but I just thought it was quite a good thing to talk about.
And we do need to dedicate this episode, actually, to our friend and listener, Wes.
Yeah, that's literally, I've written that down to remind me to do that. Yeah, Wes has asked for this episode many times.
So Wes is the gentleman that pierces me and owns the Penny Royal Tattoo Studio in St Neots.
Yep.
And he is... one of our favourite people. We love you, Wes. And we love everyone at the studio as well.
We do. We've both got tattoos from there. We've both got piercings from there. We've used all their services.
Wes is our second listener.
He is our second listener. Yeah, he really is. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he got. I think when I went and got my nose pierced, got my back touched up, Jesus, and my stars.
Yeah.
I think it was on that occasion when he was, or it might have been a voice message, and he was like, I listen too, you know, you have got more than one listener. I was like, I'm sorry, so that's why I'm not just saying listener one now.
And there's a lovely girl in America that listens to us as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't
Apparently we make her laugh a lot, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That makes us feel good.
I mean, we're happy if we make each other laugh.
Yeah.
So, you know.
The fact we make someone else laugh, even better.
Somewhat surprising. And a bonus.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, as Ali said, this episode, this case is for Wes because he has requested it, bless him, so many times over the last few months, and I hadn't done it.
Oh, so, yeah, to me, to you.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So, today I'm going to be telling you about the tragic death of glam rock superstar Marc Bolan. Do you know much about him?
T-Rex, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Born on the 30th of September in 1947 as Mark Feld in Hackney, London, Marc Bolan was fascinated by early rock and roll stars from a very early age. Eddie Cochran, Little Richard and Elvis were...
Little Richard.
Yeah. And Elvis were a few of the rock and roll legends that he looked up to. And I love reading about musicians because they are such individual characters. And Mark said about himself, I always knew I was different right from the start, right from the moment I was born. When I was younger, I certainly thought I was a kind of superior being.
Oh, I love that. Well, you know, sometimes you have to blow one's own trumpet.
That's it.
Nobody else is going to do it for you.
And the thing is, when these people do it so unashamedly, it's like go for it.
Yeah. Like, you can't take issue with that.
No. It's like they're not making a secret of the fact they think they're amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking go for it.
Sounds a bit like our Mark. Mark with a K instead of Mark with a C.
Yeah, Mark with a K. His brother Harry says if Mark knew he was going to be in trouble and if someone picked on him, he'd take on a character that was stronger than the guy who was actually having a go at him. So the character he would use for his bravado was Mighty Joe Young from the 1949 fantasy film, the same name. He dealt with life in his own mind. I like painting a picture of these amazing artists because it's just that, you know how I feel about rock and rollers. Like one of my dreams is to be a rock and roll wife.
Yes.
So
you do have someone in your sights for that, but on the off chance he listens, we won't say his name.
Noel Gallagher.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you make no secret of it, and Noel Gallagher is not going to be listening to this podcast.
And I would be, if Noel Gallagher listened to this, I would be shocked and stunned.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very unlikely. If you do know him, maybe see if he wants to listen. I am single. I do love
ready
rock
to
stars.
mingle, but only with Noel Gallagher.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, sorry, go off on a bit of a tangent again because that's what we do. I'm in my single era and I'm so happy being single at the minute. I'm really not interested in meeting anyone unless they are Noel Gallagher.
Yeah.
So, I'm not dating and I won't be dating for...
On another tangent,
Yeah.
do you have a weird crush? Like your, what do they call it? Guilty. Like a guilty crush.
Do you know who it used to be?
Who?
Chris Moyles off the radio.
Fuck off, really?
Honestly, it's because he's so funny. I love funny.
Yeah.
And I love big characters. And again, that's where the rock star sort of thing comes from. So just because...
You love an ego.
I do love an ego because I'm such an introvert.
Yeah.
And I find socialising so hard that I just love it when someone else does it for me and I can just sit and watch and enjoy the show. Like that's kind of, I think, who I look for in friends, in partners. So yeah, Chris Moyles.
Love that.
Yeah, how about you?
Hugh Laurie.
Yes, you have said that before. I get that though. I do get that.
So do a lot of people. I mentioned it at, I think, was it the Hendy that I went on?
Yes, it was. Yeah, you did mention it.
Yeah. And everyone was like, that's not that weird.
No, it's
not. Is it not? I thought it would be.
What do you think it is about him?
I don't know. I kind of only really noticed it when I watched House.
Right.
I think, that whole clever but miserable...
I haven't seen House.
I cannot tell you what it is, but, even in Blackadder, he's fucking hilarious.
Oh my God, Blackadder.
He's a huge character. He sings jazz.
Oh, he does,
as well,
doesn't
he? Yeah, Hugh Laurie. Mark, do you? Like a weird guilty crush?
Can this be my random fact? Yes,
absolutely. It can be your random
fact. And then
fact.
that'll be perfect for the end. Right, well, getting back to it. So aside from his fascination with early rock and roll, Mark looked to books.
Yay.
Particularly The Lord of the Rings for inspiration.
Mental.
I know, right? It's really random. He was also intrigued by people from British history. One particular man he became obsessed with was Beau Brummel, a fashion icon from Regency England, who was credited with establishing the modern men's suit.
Oh, the Regency period.
Oh, I love the Regency. Bridgerton. Worn with a necktie and as a means of standard formal dress. 95% of my success is the way I look. Look and presence is what people pick up on, says Bolan.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's first impressions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about, these larger than life rock stars and characters. It is all about playing a part, isn't it? And I just find it fascinating. Biographer Paul Rowland explains in a little more depth, the influence of Beau Brummell, the character and the book, was profound. Mark got quite a lot of his attitude from Beau Brummell, who saw himself as a living work of art, and that's what Bolan saw himself as.
It sounds a little bit Dorian Gray.
It does,
doesn't it?
It literally does. He identified with Brummell, his background, his attitude, and of course his sartorial elegance. It is a bit Dorian Gray, which is going back again to a speaker chat where we talked about Penny Dreadfuls.
Yeah.
And I said I bought 2 of the series on Amazon, and Dorian Gray is a character in that. There's so many well-known characters.
I love The Picture of Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
I love that book.
It's
And I love
awesome.
Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. So I think you're going to really like that. But I think when we watch that, we need to not plan other things. We'll just be like, right, we're just going to watch this, because we try and cram too much stuff.
It's like a week's worth of activities in 4 hours we try and do.
Really overexcited. And neither one of us, but me particularly, are not good at managing time.
Yeah.
You're better than me, but we're still not, collectively.
No. The only thing I'm on time for is work.
Yes.
Or early for is work, yeah.
Well done, you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Marc Bolan's rock and roll career began in 1966 as a member of John's Children, a group that achieved 2 British hits. In 1967, they released the single Desdemona, which contained the lyric, "Lift up your skirt and fly," about a witch. But the BBC banned the song, and the name of their only album, Orgasm, caused issues in the US too.
Oh, wow.
And in 1968, the band called it quits, and Mark went on to form Tyrannosaurus Rex, which started as an acoustic duo with Bolan on guitar and Steve Took on percussion. In 1970, Mickey Finn replaced Took, and the group...
Sorry, just when you said Mickey Finn, it just took me back to my teen years of drinking Mickey Finns.
Oh!
Like the apple sour type drink. Yeah.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's very nice. Sorry.
It's quite right. We like to tie in popular culture with this, so, it is all about popular culture. So Mickey Finn replaced Took, and the group shortened its name to T-Rex. It was at this time that the group began moving toward more of like a hard rock sound rather than the kind of acoustic sound they had before. And later in 1970, their song Ride a White Swan went to number 2 in the British charts, and Bolan became a rock superstar overnight. Yeah. So it literally went from 0 to 100 straight away. The band were actually headliners of the first ever Glastonbury Festival in 1970.
Were they?
Which I didn't know, and I don't know how I didn't know that, because I know a lot about Glastonbury and I've seen all the old documentaries, so I think it must have just leapt out of my mind. But initially the Kinks were actually supposed to top the bill, but they pulled out, and so Michael Eavis asked T-Rex to step in, and they did. And
amazing. Imagine having that under your belt.
Right. Well, this secured them a place in British music history, because Glastonbury is a world famous music festival.
Yes.
And they played the first one. How cool is that?
That is insane. I love that.
Marc Bolan was a true one-off, described by John Peel as a flower child with a knife up his sleeve. He couldn't be contained by any scene. I love that. He couldn't be contained by any scene. That's amazing. And T-Rex hits include Ride a White Swan, Hot Love, Get It On, and Jeepster. So, I just wanted to paint a picture of him because he was incredible, and I'm sure lots of people, they will have, you guys would have heard their songs even if you don't know a lot about T-Rex, but I just wanted to paint a picture of the marvel that was Marc Bolan, because he really was incredible. And interestingly, Marc Bolan never actually learnt to drive, and this was because he feared a premature death.
Oh.
Yeah. He believed he would die young, once saying, "The thing about success, certainly in the rock and roll business, is that it gives you an incredible amount, but what it takes away is irreplaceable, and sometimes I get a funny feeling that I shan't be here very long. And I'm not talking in terms of things like success. It frightens me sometimes.
It's like death's always
Really weird.
looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, really creepy. In a film about Bolan, Simon Napier Bell says the following: Chet Baker was a hero of his and James Dean. And I said, well, be careful having James Dean as a hero because you might end up dying in a Porsche. And he said, oh, I'm just tiny. I'd like to die in a Mini.
Christ.
Bear that in mind.
Yeah.
So we obviously have done an episode about James Dean. So go back and
Porsche
listen to that
Spider.
if you haven't, because that's really good. Very, very tragic and also creepy with like weird premonitions in there as well. So this leads us on to the tragic accident which occurred on the 16th of September in 1977. So Gloria Jones, who was Mark's partner, and Mark were on their way back from Morton's Drinking Club and Restaurant in Berkeley Square. Gloria was driving them because Mark didn't drive, and they were in a purple 1275 GT Mini.
Oh, no.
They were only a mile from their home in East Sheen when the pair crashed into a tree at around 5 a.m.
Fucking hell.
So this witness account from firefighter Chris Watts describes when he was called out to the incident. Quote, we hadn't been travelling long when a call came to attend an accident on the South Circular. Manchester Square was what they called an RTA station, and our appliance was carrying specialist rescue equipment. When they arrived at the scene near Humpback Bridge on Queen's Ride, it was obvious to the crew that there was no rescuing to be done. Chris goes on to explain a woman who had been driving was standing by a vehicle that had hit a tree and crushed the passenger. He was still in the passenger seat and apparently dead. The car was a total mess. Neither of the people involved had been wearing a seatbelt. It seems like the car, which had been a Mini, had failed to make a left-hand bend, crossed the road and hit a tree, but no other vehicle was involved. So no one's ever going to know for certain what actually caused it to come off the road because, well, I suppose Gloria would
She survived.
done. She survived, so I couldn't find a lot from her, but there's a ton of information on this case. So, you know, if you want to find out more information, there's tons of it out there, like from really good sources as well.
Oh my God, that photo.
Yeah, I mean, I will
Shit the fucking bed.
put some of these photos on our Instagram when this episode goes out. It is really disturbing, just a trigger warning, because the Mini is obliterated, really, really obliterated.
I mean, the look of that, the other alternative of what you know, he could have ended up like completely brain damaged.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just paralysed, anything like.
No good could have come of that
No.
incident. When
No.
you see the car, you kind of realise.
That would have been a miracle if he had gotten out of that.
It's a miracle anyone got out of it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the one good thing was that there wasn't another car involved.
Yes, yeah.
So he goes on to say, so we cut the passenger out and he was taken by ambulance to hospital, but that was just a formality. When we rang the hospital later, they told us the driver, which was Gloria, had a broken arm and jaw, but the passenger was dead on arrival. Mm-hmm. They said his name was Mark Feld, but you might know him better as Marc Bolan. That's when the penny dropped. Although you would never have recognised him at the scene. Let's put it this way, he was badly knocked about.
Yeah, I can imagine maybe head, face caved in.
Yeah.
At least.
I don't like...
No, there were no
seatbelts.
seatbelts.
Sorry, Goose just asked if they were wearing seatbelts. No, they did actually. So the chap earlier mentioned the fact that he did not have seatbelts on in the car.
So funny story about seatbelts. Mum was in a really bad car accident. Her friend was driving, and the fact that she wasn't wearing a seatbelt saved her life when they had a crash.
I think in some instances that has happened.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
I think
Same as Mark's uncle.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, so same as happened to Mark. It just, in my opinion, a roll of the dice.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know?
I mean, definitely wear your seatbelt.
Oh, God, yeah.
Definitely wear your seatbelt. Don't just try it out.
Seatbelt safety has obviously come on and on and on.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So there's Another witness, sorry, I lost my place then. Another witness, Vicky Aram, a former nightclub singer, was invited back from the party that night by Bolan, his girlfriend Gloria Jones, and Jones's brother Richard to discuss musical projects that night. And she was following them in a separate car and arrived at the scene just seconds after the impacts. Vicky remembers, as I came over the bridge with Richard beside me, I can still see in my mind so clearly a purple car which looked like a little Beetle. It was upright and it was smoking, and there was a tiny glimmer of light from the moon. The night was so still. She means Beetle as in creature.
Oh, right,
Yeah. I said, we've got to get them out. This car might blow up. I took my mother's rug from the back of my car and put it on the ground. I don't think Richard thought Mark was dead, but I knew he was. Gloria was groaning and almost conscious, but Richard cried and said, please don't leave me. In an eerie parallel with Bolan's death, Vicky Aram reportedly crashed her car into a tree on the way to give evidence at Bolan's inquest a month later.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
that's creepy.
So it was sort of initially thought, and actually people still think, that Marc Bolan was actually killed when the Mini hit the tree itself. But in a biography called Ride a White Swan, The Lives and Death of Marc Bolan, written by the journalist Leslie Ann Jones, it's reported that he was in fact killed when the car hit a steel reinforced fence post.
And then hit the tree?
It seems like, from what I could gather from the description, there was a fence in front of the tree.
Oh.
So it almost was an extra something to hit, you know?
Right, okay.
Mark suffered a horrific head injury. Mm-hmm. The book also reveals that the tree, which has become a despised object by fans, actually prevented the car from sliding down the embankment, which would have caused an even worse tragedy.
Yeah.
So it's quite likely that Gloria wouldn't have survived that.
Yeah.
So the tree actually stopped it. But it was actually the post that hit it first. Well, the thing is, you know, if a Mini hits a tree or a post, it's not going to be good news, is it?
No.
Fee Warner, founder of the T-Rex Action Group, bought the land where the sycamore tree stands to stop it from being felled. She and volunteers preserve a shrine at the location dedicated to Marc Bolan. Warner, 53, said a lot of people don't realise there was a fence between the tree and the road because the fence was removed. When we came to build some steps, we found that they had taken the fence away. They had taken away the ones that were undamaged, but the damaged elements of the fence had been buried on the site. And that explains something which I have never been able to understand, why the damage to the tree is far higher than anything a Mini could have done. So I'm guessing the tree obviously went back into the tree.
The tree went back into the tree?
The fence went back into the tree.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's what it sort of sounds like. David Bowie, Rod Stewart and Steve Harley were among musicians who attended Bolan's funeral on the 20th of September at Golders Green Crematorium in London. Regarding Bolan's death, David Bowie had said, I'm terribly broken by it. He was my mate. The only tribute I can give Mark is that he was the greatest little giant in the world. Mm. And that is the tragic death of Marc Bolan. We did a Mini 1275 GT in Goblin.
Did you?
Yeah, which was interesting.
Why don't I remember that?
You probably didn't watch it.
I watched all of your Goblin shows.
Second series, same series as my E30. We did it black and gold. It was really cool, actually. It was Jimmy's baby.
Yeah.
The E30 was my baby, and the Mini was Jimmy's, and he did. Well, collectively we did a great job. It was all his design, really, and it was very, very cool. I've always liked so the front of a Mini GT looks very different from other Minis.
Yeah.
It almost looks a bit more sporty.
Yes.
Rears are normally the same, but the fronts do look a bit different. It's different grille. So yeah, you can see, like, Goobs has got some pictures up so you can see the difference between... There it is! Oh, he's found a picture of it!
Oh, wow, that's sick. Yeah, no, I like that.
It's wicked.
Mum always said she thought she would see me sort of driving around in a Mini.
I would still love to get a Mini.
Oh, yeah.
But you need to either be able to fix them yourself all the time, they have to be kept inside, or you need to know a very good mechanic who will do you favours, because my ex had one and I loved it to bits, but there was always something wrong with it.
So with regards to the Mini that Mark and Gloria were in, like, that was... I guess they checked the car to make sure there's no faults and things like that.
So I tried to actually find out what happened to the car accident. I couldn't find anything. But to be fair, I did this episode quite quickly.
Yeah.
So I didn't look extensively.
Wes is going to be pissed off. He would have wanted this like to be about 3 hours long.
Follow it up. But normally I can find out where the cars are.
Yeah.
And if they've, people buy the wrecks or what happens to them. But this is the UK, don't forget. It's not like America where people seem to sell the wrecks on. That's not really...
It's like some sort of
a thing
murder
here.
memorabilia.
Yeah,
well, not murder memorabilia, but yeah.
Yeah, true crime memorabilia, accident abilia.
Yeah.
Macababilia?
Macababilia. Morbid memorabilia. Memorabilia.
Yeah, so...
Memorabilia.
So I don't know whatever happens to that. And if anybody knows, let us know, because I'd love to know what happens to it. I don't think any of it would have been salvageable.
No.
They couldn't have really reused any parts of it. The structure would have been completely and utterly fucked, for want of a better word.
Yeah, there was no coming back from that.
No. But no, I have always wanted... in fact, I always wanted a mini pickup truck, which are very hard to come by and very, very cool. And have you ever driven a old Mini?
No.
Proper Mini, though.
No, I've just been a passenger in one, and that was
So
your
much
ex's.
fun. Oh, so Monty, so you did go in Monty?
Yeah, he was driving around, but he was just... his driving was not great.
I liked driving that car.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
But Stephen's driving was terrible.
Yeah, not good. But so that car, that's actually out. So they obviously used to rally it.
Yeah.
Very famous for rallying. And it's beat Mustangs with massive, great big V8 engines, because they might not have the absolute speed on a straight, but cornering and maneuvering,
probably easier to handle.
They're perfect.
They're
to handle.
light.
So light.
They're small.
They literally weigh nothing.
Yeah.
And what's SWB? Short wheelbase, yeah. They're just so compact. Yeah, I would love one. And there's, I can't remember the name of the company, but when we redid the Mini and Goblin, we bought a whole new cab. So that was brand new. So you can literally buy all the parts to put one back together. Obviously, you need a title and a VIN and stuff like that. Yeah. But, there's so many places still sell parts for Minis. They're easy. They're relatively easy projects to do up. The only thing is, like, the engine bays are so tiny. Trying to get in some of the spaces and gaps,
I'd lose a hand.
It's
I'd be cut to shreds.
But yeah. So sorry, that was a bit of a tangent, but it was connected. But yeah, they're really fun to drive. So fun to drive.
I love it.
In fact, because they're really good on fuel. And so they'd be brilliant for just like a bombing about the town car. That's
just driving about on that.
Driving about on that.
Just driving about
Honestly,
on that.
Perfect for that.
Just fucking avoid trees.
Avoid trees and, wear a bloody seatbelt.
Yes.
And actually, I think people look at them and think they're tiny. But when you're sat in the front, you've actually got a lot of room.
There's a lot of room, yeah.
Oh. So it's all good. I never forget when I used to live in Maida Vale, and we parked the car up, and I was always wary of people in London not being able to fucking park, because I've seen people...
It's not a city to be driving around.
No, you
get public transport in London.
Yeah, so Maida Vale is actually, because it's really easy to get in and out of London, so a lot of people there had cars. But I have seen people in the streets reversing into cars and bumping them at the front to figure out where they are in the space. No. That's how they figure it out. They literally bump into other cars. So I was always really paranoid about people parking near the Mini, because obviously, you bump a piece of plastic, not much is going to happen. You bump a Mini which has got original chrome on it, you're going to have an issue and it's going to be called Helen. So, and this one time, like outside, there's a really nice, like, almost like a high street in Maida Vale where there was like a florist, a butcher's, which is where I used to see Paul Weller. You know,
I remember the pub that you took me to the first time I visited you in Maida Vale, and I had a lovely pea soup.
Oh, that used to be one of Gordon Ramsay's.
Did it? And there's tiny little sausages that were like in like a little mustard glaze or something. The name
of it. It used to be.
Obviously, that's when I ate meat.
Yeah, it used to be a brothel. Oh. Yeah, because there was all like paintings that like 20s paintings.
Yes, it was very dark and atmospheric in there. I remember
really
that.
Cool place. I can't remember the name of it. If I remember, I'll put it on here. But this guy reversed into the Mini, like was literally there, and I was just like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because his wife was like giving him directions. And he was like, "Oh, sorry," she said I was okay. I was like, well, she obviously has no spatial awareness.
Oh, God.
I literally just laid into it. I was like, this is a classic Mini. You don't understand.
See, I will only park in a space if it's easy. Well, no, I'm quite good at reverse parking. But I like to be able to just drive straight into space. There's a lot of room around me.
You don't have that luxury in London, though.
No, I know. See, because, again, oh, no.
Yeah,
and my spatial awareness is terrible, so I do it for my own safety.
Yeah, fair enough. But no, people, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so that is a very tragic story. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, and it's been a while since we've done one about celebrity death.
Yeah. Very, very sad, and I just think it's particularly spooky because he said
it's like a premonition. It's very Final fucking Destination. I mean, he hadn't escaped death, but it's like, I'm going to die in a Mini, essentially. It's like premonition.
So weird. Yeah. So weird. I mean, obviously, Minis were very, very popular cars at the time, but he could have been in anything.
Yeah.
He literally could have been in anything. So that's that, really. We did go off on quite a few sort of tangents. It wasn't a massively long episode.
No, but we do still have a Get in the Bin and Random Facts.
Yes. So do you have a Get in the Bin this week?
Yeah, the depot injection.
Okay.
So that's my new... I take so many vitamins, minerals, medications that I couldn't be asked to keep taking the contraceptive pill, so I went and got the depot injection. And that has made me fucking balloon and also give me the sweats. It's like premenopausal sweats, hot flushes and things like that.
Oh, God.
And in the summer, it's just absolutely awful.
Not what we ordered.
So, yeah, that can get in the bin for the weight gain and the sweatiness.
Fucking fair enough.
Sorry to be gross.
No, it's not gross. It's life, isn't it? So Goobs is putting in the bin local doctor's surgery. He had a dead leg for months, but apparently there's nothing wrong with him.
So he has some blood tests that showed he had an elevated bone profile. So they're like, oh, you need to come in for more tests. Like, clearly concerned. Same results with the second lot of tests. Oh, don't worry about it. There's nothing wrong. Well, then why did you get him in for the second lot? Hello?
Fucking hell.
Fucking fuck.
I mean, what's my Get in the Bin? People, again, actually, because people who take the piss out of creative people.
Wasn't this your last Get in the Bin?
I'm doing it again because it hasn't stopped. Just because we are creative does not mean you can have our services for free. You would not go into a shop and say, oh, I like this cup, I'm going to take it.
But I'll talk about it.
Don't worry. I'll tell everyone about it. So fucking what? You haven't paid for it. Put it back.
Does not pay the bills.
It doesn't pay the fucking bills. I don't need anyone to talk about my artwork. I need people to fucking pay for it.
Can you imagine if, like, just giving you a shout out was like, oh yeah, there's your fucking electricity you paid for this month?
Yeah.
By all means.
I'm going to ring up the estate agents and just be like, I'm not going to actually pay any rent for the next 3 months. I'm going to just shout about it on Instagram. It's not fucking helpful.
No, it's not currency.
It's not currency.
You can't survive on that.
It's daylight fucking robbery.
Yeah. Reg is, do you know what? Reg can feel the heat right now because he's just got up and he's moving around.
Oh, bless him. I didn't even realise he's still in the room still. Hey, bud.
He's like hidden. He's come back a little bit more.
Sorry, Mummy didn't mean to shout. It wasn't at you, bud. Never shout at you. So we will go straight into random facts then. Have you got one today?
Yeah, so I think my next 2 random facts, including, well, this one and the next one after that, they're all going to be injury-based. So my weirdest injury I've ever had, I went to Alton Towers years ago, and we were riding a ride, obviously, and it was one that you kind of went up and then steep drop down. And then,
Which one's that one?
It might have been Smiler. No. I don't know. I can't remember which one it was. But I had my hairpin back in Kirby grips. And when my head went back, when we did the drop, the Kirby grip went straight into my head.
Oh my God!
And I didn't feel it go in.
Blech.
But we went to like the medics. I was like, I've got Kirby grip stuck in my head. And they thought it was stuck in my hair. They were like, what do you want us to do about it? I was like, no, it's stuck in my head. And when they looked, they were like, yeah, we can't get that out. You have to go to A&E. And it was in about... How big would you say that is? Well, how deep? I don't know. Half a centimetre? About a centimetre into my head.
Oh my God.
And it had to be yanked out. Luckily, there wasn't the knobbly bit on the end. That's why it pierced through. So it could just sort of come out, and then I had to have a tetanus jab. Went straight back in the park though, because I've been to A&E. We got like in quite quickly because they give us like a little thing to say.
Sorry, your head was injured.
And I got in quickly as well because of we'd been at the park.
Flash the injury card.
Yeah,
Too fucking right.
Yeah.
So Goob's random fact is that his celeb crush is Alicia Cuthbert.
Is that the girl next door?
She's hot.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally get that.
Blonde, isn't she?
Absolutely gorgeous, yeah. And she's Kim Bauer in 24.
Never watched 24.
I haven't either. Okay, we need to, clearly. Do you know what he's got the box set. Amazing. Do you know what I've started rewatching? Because I've forgotten everything that happens and never actually watched the last series. Lost.
I never watched Lost.
Because it's on, I think it's come back on Netflix. And so I've just been having it on, like, at night when I'm working.
Apparently it just got ridiculous.
That's what I remember. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I'll put it back on again. But actually, I might... is 24 on any of the streaming? Really? No.
I have to borrow the box set.
I have to do the whole
and
DVD
the DVD player again.
Yeah. Well, no, the DVD player's still downstairs.
Oh,
in
is
the
it?
cupboard, yeah. I didn't give it back. He's got two.
Oh, there you go then.
Amazing.
But his guilty crush, and we are to bear with him on this one, is Brian Cox.
Uh-huh.
So he's not that way inclined, but he loves how passionate he is about physics and space and could happily live with him for the rest of his life.
And he's a former fucking rocker.
Yeah.
Which is even fucking cooler.
Wasn't there like a massive like rumour that he was in Blur? Yeah.
Was there? I didn't hear that rumour.
Yeah. It's like, no, he wasn't.
He wasn't in Blur.
No, he wasn't. But yeah, there's a big rumour that he was in Blur.
Bananas.
Which is fucking ridiculous because, well...
He wasn't.
He wasn't, yeah.
So my random fact is, one of my many trips to LA, we have I ever mentioned that I've been to LA? We stayed in an Airbnb, which was kind of... I can't remember the fucking name of it. So, if you know LA, basically, where Chateau Marmont is, it's up the road from that, it going into the Hollywood Hills.
Okay.
It's a really nice area. And it was like an old, what they would describe of as like a cottage.
Oh.
And it was somewhere that Darcy Retzky, the bassist from Smashing Pumpkins, used to live there. And John Candy also used to live there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very basic when it comes to like kitchen and bathroom facilities.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was not what I would have desired because I do like things to be very clean, simple. But it was interesting staying there.
Yeah.
And it was literally like really near everything.
That's
very, very cool. Yeah, so it was cool.
Yeah.
So that's that. Well, thank you massively to Mark Gilbert, who is Park Lane Studios, and he is responsible for all the sound.
Not for us, clearly.
For the sound and the video, but absolutely not the content, because he can't fix that. Absolutely, he's completely right.
Called him Gooberella earlier. I just felt the need to.
It's like when you have nicknames for your pets, they end up getting ridiculous.
Oh, Josh was J-Man.
Yeah. No. No, don't even say it.
Mud flap.
I'm putting a fucking ban on it.
Mud flap.
Nope. I was going to say, like, my dog's...
Flap, 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 flap.
Do not do that. That is fucking disturbing, Alison. Is it any way you can turn her mic off? No, because you think it's funny. I'm going to get out of this as quickly as possible. If you would like to find us on Instagram, we're at Cars and the Carb. If you'd like to email us with any stories of your own, or if you've got any episode suggestions.
I'm going to set up a fan page called...
No!
Fans of Mud Flap.
carsandmacabre@gmail.com. You can find us on all the platforms. You can watch us on YouTube. Please like, subscribe, download, share the love. And until next time, stay spooky, bitches. Shut the fuck up!